You're live.
We are live, says
We are live.
Jackie.
Yay.
Good to see you, Jackie. Good to see Ego and Ingrid and Mark and Tom. Good day, everyone. It is Monday, August 31st already. Last day of the month here. And of course, if you're in Australia seeing this, it's already the first, whatever month comes after August. September. Yes, September. Guys, I'm like just totally maxed out. Let's see who we got here. Of course, we got Jackie, Wendy, Bill. There's Therese. Good to see you, Therese. And your new digs as well. Hello, Rose and Tom, Mark, Jamie, Adrian, Janet. Hey, Daisy, Wayne. Ingrid's driving with her camera mounted right exactly where the speedometer would be, which I think is very strategic. Coila, Stuart. Good to see you, Stuart. And of course, Glenn, Nancy, Ego, John, Jane, Sandy, Mary, Jody, and Lindsay is here. Oh my goodness, Lindsay. And everyone else who's tuning in live. Glad to see you all. Glad to see myself at this point. I think our topic for the day will be correct estimation of effort, which is which is not my strong suit apparently, at least not with moving. But I got to hear a little bit of the talk that was going on just before we got here. And I want to give a shout out to Ingrid, who's driving to, for those of you who don't know, Ingrid is like awesome expert level, violinist. All right. So like you go to hear a symphony, right? Like she's one of the violins, like doing that thing. Ingrid, I don't know if you got something to say about that. Like that's an amazing discipline. I got a violin. It makes sounds and stuff, but yeah. Any thoughts on that, Ingrid?
Yeah, it's it's not for the undisciplined. That's for sure.
Just like holding the bow is like, there's a specific way to hold the bow. And I don't know, any of you ever played violin? It's like a big deal. Like there's nothing mild about that instrument. It
takes parents that are willing to listen to it for the first few years, and that's pretty awful.
Yeah. I would still choose it over the drums, which was my.
I played it like a guitar.
We have those.
Yeah.
We have drums. My son got moved to the barn with his drums.
Oh, there you go. Well, as long as you got a barn, you can have drums and barns go together.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm here in what will be my new digs. I do have luxury. I have plants for you here. I won't show you the rest of it. Actually, I just did. So we just got piled boxes everywhere. So and I did bathe for you all, although I haven't had a chance to shave. But I'll tell you what's coming up for me today, and what I think is really good thing to keep in mind, and that is, as I already alluded to, the correct estimation of effort. And how this came up for me is obviously I've been moving, which is a ton of effort. Sometimes more extreme than others, right? It depends on what you expected. I expected to have a quality moving crew. I had a less than quality moving crew. I expected that there would be a bit more time to do some of the stuff that needed to be done before I moved in, but that didn't happen. What else? I expected that it wasn't going to be a monsoon rainstorm while we were unloading trucks with lightning and everything else while I'm in this big metal box. That was interesting. We had such a dry summer here in Phoenix. I'm going to get to something usable here in just a minute, but I'm giving you anecdotes just to sort of set the stage. But we had one of the driest summers ever. And now finally, the rain has come. And exactly when we're unloading the truck at like 9 o'clock. So, all right. So much for my plans. And I guess that's the point, right? So much for your plans. We've got a lot of, hopefully we do. We have a lot of goals, right? We've got ideas on what we want to accomplish. We've got a lot of people doing e-commerce. We've got people doing various forms of business. Ingrid's driving to her rehearsal for the symphony deal or whatever performance there is about to happen. So you got to rehearse, you got to practice. There's lots of stuff that we intend to accomplish. And in my case, having not even looked at a piece of electronics since Friday, since our Be Heard event that we had, I haven't seen a piece of electronics since then. I think Friday we also talked about doing something objective, doing some like manual labor, something therapeutic, not looking at your computer, right? Well, guess what? I did a full weekend of that 18-hour days, 3 days straight. So I've had quite enough objectivity. I'm happy to just sit down and talk with you guys. Um, but the point is that we make hay while the sun is shining. This is a saying that I heard back in when I was newer in sales, and I think this is instructive. Certainly a good reminder for me, and I think instructive for everyone. So I guess another way to say that would be a bird in hand is worth two in a bush, or a bird in hand is worth something, right? A bird in hand makes blowing your nose difficult. I don't know. A bird in hand. Okay. But you got a bird in your hand. What do you do? What do you do? Do you maximize that opportunity? Or do you multitask? And this is the killer I found for myself. I don't know. We'll hear from you guys, okay? But multitasking, I think, is folly. I think I can change my focus from that to that to that. I could do that a lot and get nothing done. But if I look at anything that's ever been successful in my life, it's been where I completed what I started, right? So if you look at any successful action, eating a bowl of cereal, right? You make the decision to eat the bowl of cereal. You start that whole cycle by getting the bowl, getting the cereal, right? Doing the thing. You have the experience, and then you put away or you clean the bowl and done. And so that's a done. That's a done. My favorite four-letter word, done. Okay. But anything that's not done, in other words, I started that, but I didn't finish it. I started that and I didn't finish it. I started that, didn't finish it. What's the saying? The fox that chases two rabbits catches neither. Well, I know people who are chasing like 15 friggin' rabbits and they're not catching any of them. So make hay while the sun is shining, or the bird in hand, or the rabbit. Okay. The point is that we complete something. And isn't there joy in knowing that you've accomplished something? Man, I love that. I'm like, yes, look at that. That's done. And quite often with the work that we do, typically in this group, it's a bit more subjective, or we could say we get to experience deferred gratification because, hey, we're grown-ups. We don't need, we don't need the bubble gum right now, right? I don't need my sweetie right now. Okay, I can get my sweeties later. Right now, I'm going to do the work to earn the sweeties, whatever you call them in your country. We call it candy here. I heard some kid calling it sweeties on a YouTube video or something. But the point is, can we keep our focus long enough on something while deferring gratification till later? And can we get this thing done? Because it is such a different experience. Because here's what happens when I don't get stuff done. Now I'm thinking, oh, I still got to do that other thing. Or I've forgotten I still got to do that other thing. Oh, that sucks. Now, oh no, I've run out of time. So am I making a point? The point is that anything that we can get done, any cycle that we can complete, that is the anatomy of success itself. And therefore, failure would be incomplete. This is something I'm attempting to teach not only my daughter and people in my personal life, and attempting to remind myself of it all the time, because it does come back to bite me when I forget. But also in the business world. So I've got a couple of people who I'm working with right now, training on sales, right? And the idea of, back to the original point, make hay while the sun is shining. Let's say you've got 10 clients that are that could potentially buy, right? And there are different stages in the sales process, okay? Or let's say in the same sort of thing in the case of like sourcing products for e-commerce, right? You're going to post products on Amazon. Fantastic. So let's say you've got one that's about to come to fruition. This sale's about to happen, or this order's about to be placed, or this product is about to be sourced. But you're really close to a done on that. But you got all these other things that are screaming for your attention, other projects that you can start. Which thing do you do? I'm going to argue you finish the one that's almost closest to being done. That customer who's got the credit card in their hand, who's about to give you money, you take the money. This is something, and this may sound a little different than what a lot of people here have experienced, but back when I was newer in sales and I was on the roller coaster ride of, the ups and downs of business and making money, this was back in New Jersey, back in Springfield, New Jersey. I used to work at this place called Autoland. I'm sure it's still there. It's a big auto mall. And I was learning from one of the seasoned, sales managers, right, about, how they make the car deal and they get the car delivered and all this. And he said, whenever you've got a customer, this is back to the idea of bird in hand, or sun is shining, so make hay. You've got a customer who wants this car and they've negotiated the payments and whatever it is, right? Even before the car deal is approved, and signed off and that's good to go. The bank approves the loan and blah, blah, blah. Take their down payment. So that's kind of like in the real estate world, that's like escrow money, right? Here's my 20,000 or whatever it is. Take the 20,000 in escrow, right? Or in the case of the car deal, here's the $500 down. Very good. Where's the $500? Okay. And receive the $500, mark that on the paper, and then bring that to the management, the banking people and the finance and everyone else. Then they can work the rest of that deal. But the point is that you've got cash in fist. That's closer to a done. It's not, I'll get back to you while I'm working on the other guy's stuff. That is cash in fist. What can you do in your life to make that happen more often? And so a lot of times, what I think, especially when people have experienced lean times, again, I'm going to some of the people I've had one-on-one conversations with here, where you've got new businesses going, or you're working on getting them going, but at the same time, you've got to keep the lights on. And I think we mentioned this last week. Is there something you can do right now that will be most profitable right now? It may not be the big lofty thing in the future. I'm seeing, this is where I'm going. I won't need this anymore. But right now, meaning right now, this is a bird in hand. Okay, take the money, right? Do the most profitable thing right now that you can do, even if it's just a few hundred, few $1,000s, a few $1 million, right? Which isn't much for you, right? I know some of your standards are really high. So it's just a few $1 million, not the billions, right? Obviously, I don't know if we have any billionaires on here, at least not yet. We're working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. But en route to that big lofty goal and that ideal scenario that you've envisioned for yourself, the reason you're showing up in the first place, en route to that, can you make hay while the sun is shining? Because the sun is shining over here. So often, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, because I've done a lot of work in the business opportunity space, where people are coming into an opportunity because they want out of their job. They are dissatisfied with their pay. They hate their boss. They like hanging around with Bob at the water cooler. That's nice and social. Okay. By the way, that keeps people at their miserable jobs a lot more than you might suspect, right? The whole social aspect of that's actually part of your pay is the whole psychic experience of being cooperatively working with other people. Some people don't have that. Some people are like, I can't stand my coworkers, right? But whatever the situation is, whatever's got them looking for more or looking to reach higher, they've come to opportunity X to experience more autonomy, right? More autonomy. Now I get to be in control of my time. I don't have to show up at the office. I can have location flexibility. I can make more money, right? I can write my own check, so to speak. It isn't overnight, okay? But here's what I've heard again and again and again is, John, I got started in this opportunity and suddenly my job, my other income, the thing that I'm looking to get away from has blown up. How does that happen? Why does that happen? Again and again and again. We're looking to get out of this thing. And as soon as we reach for something higher, we get pulled back into this thing and the money's flowing. How does that happen? It happens because you've raised your consciousness, your standards, your, again, I'll refer to Wallace D. Wattles' Science of Getting Rich. The way to get a promotion or whatever is to outgrow your post, to become bigger than your current station in life, right? Not to rail against it, not to protest that post, but to outgrow that post to the point where you're too big for it. Here's the promotion, or here's the business, or here's whatever it is that you're going towards. But just in the decision and the fact that you've taken action towards that new decision, towards that new opportunity, right? Which that action demonstrates the decision. If you haven't taken action, then you haven't really made a decision. To decide but not to act is to not decide. So you did decide, and you are acting, And guess what? You are now bigger than that post, and it's just flowing to you. Have any of you experienced that? Have you experienced where you want to go there and suddenly this thing here, the sun is shining all of a sudden? There's two reasons for that. One is the one that I just mentioned. The other one is non-attachment. Non-attachment. While you were in the thick of it, while this was your whole life, this is how you survive and make money. It's this friggin' job that I can't stand. Okay. Now that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, now that you're going somewhere higher, you're not so attached emotionally. You're not so attached to this. Yeah, this is keeping the lights on. This is paying the bills. Okay. While you're getting your Amazon business going, while you're starting your marketing deal, your brick and mortar business, whatever. Okay. This is still paying the bills, but it's no longer, there's no longer that desperation of needing this to work because now you got that. I'll end with this. When I first became successful in entrepreneurship, I had done a few things and had mild success. Some of you know I was a tool dealer. I drove a Matco Tools truck, right? That's a franchise. It's like Snap-on and Mac. You know, you go to the garages, you sell tools to the mechanics on credit, which isn't very smart. But anyway, so I was doing that. Okay, made, I don't know, 80, 90,000 a year, nonstop, 80 hours a week, hated it, right? Did some network marketing stuff, lost money. Of course, I had a band. I was managing a band. We were doing metal, so there's really no money in that, unless you're AC/DC or Metallica or something. Very, very few people make money in that genre. But when I finally became successful and transitioned out of that last job that I ever had, going back a couple decades, okay, my last job, I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, having my pay cut 3 times a year. So yeah, Rome was burning, right? It was all crumbling around me. I hated it. Okay. But once I saw the light at the end of that tunnel, once I had a new destination, this all got better. So the higher destination made all this not more bearable, I would say, because I knew I was exiting. Okay. And I wasn't so emotionally attached to it. Interestingly, too, my goal at that time was to just make 20,000 a month, which I could never do in this job. They kept 3 times a year, they would promote me and cut my pay. Some of you have heard the story, right? That was my promotion. Always came with a little pay cut to keep me under control, right around 10,000 a month, right? I wanted to make 20. I could never do it in this vehicle. So yes, while I knew this was coming apart, while I knew I was leaving this, I didn't know where. And then when I finally did know where I was going, everything worked to the point where, having missed the goal, and I think this will give you some hope if you've been like in struggle mode for some time. So after having missed the goal for years, marrying myself to whatever vehicle, thinking this has got to be the thing that's going to do it. When I finally released attachment to the vehicle, stopped marrying the vehicle, I hit my goal in 3 months after missing it for years. Bam, like that. Now, some of you may think, well, 3 months, that's still a long time. Well, compared to years of missing the goal, no, I'll take the 3 months. Okay. I think anybody can muscle through anything for 3 months. So my point is, while I just muscled through a weekend plus with moving, right? Because we know we got to get it done and we know we can get it done. What is it that you know you could get done if you just put your mind to it? You stop chasing 15 rabbits, you put your mind to it, and then 3 months from now, you got a goal, okay? And you're going to hit that goal, come hell or high water, like no matter what it takes. Like I had to get these boxes into this house. I had to get this furniture here. Nothing's placed yet. It's a disaster, okay? But that's done. The truck is returned, right? The old house is swept out, right? So that's a done. I had deadlines. I didn't have time to chase 15 rabbits. I didn't have time to answer the 223 emails that have come in the last 48 hours. Okay. Thank you all for your patience. But I got it done. What can you get done in the next 90 days? Here's the question I'll leave you with, and we're going to open it up. I see Virginia's hand is up already. What can you get done in the next 90 days? No, it's not the big lofty $10 million goal or whatever. Okay. But it's en route to that, but it's something that you'll not only get the pleasure of, the gratification of accomplishing something, right? Not only will you get that, but you'll also, if it's a money thing, well, you'll have made some money. How much money, right? Be specific, tighten it up, right? We're not talking about a year. talking about 90 days, 90 days. September's about to start. September, October, November. So Thanksgiving here in the United States. Okay. I think Thanksgiving's in October for Canada. Whatever you guys do in England and Kiwi land and everywhere else, right? Pick the end of November, make it some auspicious thing that by that date or earlier, you will have accomplished this. What is this? Name it and claim it. Name it and claim it. That's what we're going to do. And with that, I am going to open the microphones. Hopefully you got something out of this. This is all with a crick in my neck, and my body is just wrenched, guys. I'm in so much pain. Hey, Virginia, what are you doing?
Good morning over here to you and to me. So like get a rice bag, put it in a sock, rice in a sock, warm it in the microwave 2-3 minutes and put it on your neck.
Ah, okay.
You ever tried that?
Yeah, usually ice is better for me, but I could try the heat as well.
Ice in the first few days and 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, and then maybe switch to heat. Okay, so there's my nursing tip for the day.
Thank you.
I really needed to hear this because I'm in that position where my supervisor has given her 2 weeks notice and they're looking to me to see if I want to jump into that role or apply for that role. And being a typical Pisces, I see it from both angles. So I think you've helped me decide that, no, I really don't want to do that. I'd have to give up some of my favorite clients. I'd have to work 40 hours plus. I'd have to just not have as much time to focus on my e-commerce business. But the other side that I've been flipping back and forth is, yeah, but COVID's still happening. We don't know how much my income's going to be with my current level at my company because of fluctuations. And this would give me a guarantee. What if my kids who, we all live together, what if they lose their jobs? I'd be able to be the breadwinner, all those financial, well, this is a more secure path right now, even though it would probably be something I would not really enjoy doing. And I look at that I think it's the Millionaire Mind, T.F. Ecker, that said, it's the law of attraction. It's the law of attraction. Yeah, I could do it like this, but I really wouldn't like to do it that way. So I think you've helped me make a decision that if I can just focus with gazelle intensity, that I would be able to get something done in 90 days, God willing, and the creek don't rise and COVID doesn't shut everything down again. So this was good for me to hear right now. Also, very quickly, I took a Dave Ramsey course earlier this year, and it was on, how to get out of debt, financial peace, and prosperity. And they show a little video about a lion chasing a gazelle in the jungle. And the gazelle is now fighting for its life. So nothing else matters other than getting away from that lion and running and running and running. And they showed how eventually the gazelle, by being so intense in escaping that, can wear out the lion to the point that the lion will stop chasing it and it eat. So his promo is to focus on getting out of debt with gazelle intensity, like your life depended on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start putting gazelle intensity into my business and focusing on that because our lives do depend on it. If we're going to get out, we're going to do all that. So thank you so much for today. This really was something I needed to hear.
Oh, thank you. I needed it too. Thank you, Virginia. And I just remembered, my goodness, everyone in e-commerce, I'm thinking end of November, I'm thinking holidays, Thanksgiving. Guess what? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? So yeah, you got to get some stuff done in the next 90 days, don't we? Yeah, if you're going to be selling, the Christmas rush, which you got to be selling, that makes your whole year, right? So good stuff. Thank you, Virginia. Where's my friend Stuart Wild? What's up, Stuart? Let's get Stuart out.
I don't even remember how to use Zoom anymore, you guys.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
Both of us have
see
been like,
let me lower my hand here. All right.
yeah.
Oh, nice to see everybody today. Glad to be on call with you guys. John, I love the topic for today. Seems like you hit a couple of cool things. Thanks for making yourself a little vulnerable about your level of frustration with moving and setting expectations and things like that, because I think that's something that we all deal with. And I want to say, really from my own personal experience, and you guys might agree, when we set expectations, that comes from making assumptions, right? And we know that, you know, assumptions aren't necessarily healthy. I like to look at assumptions as two things, because I am a fan and do employ the law of assumption in my, let's say, mindset practice. But that's what I would call an internal assumption versus an external assumption, where you're sort of placing an expectation on somebody else's actions, right? And that inevitably leads to disappointment. It inevitably leads to miscommunication. Hold on, sorry guys. And it inevitably leads to suffering, right? And you know, you mentioned detachment, right? And that really is one of the most prominent virtues in many religions and spiritual practices across the world. And I think there's a reason for that, right? And I think it touches on what we're saying here. In terms of maybe how we can deal with some of that stuff, obviously don't make external assumptions about anything. And then maybe we don't necessarily underestimate the work involved or the time involved. Or I kind of come from this place, and maybe you guys too, of, you know, we set goals because it's about making decisions and naming it and claiming it. But I'm also a big fan of the ready, fire, aim concept, where, you know, you make a decision, you set yourself on a course, and maybe that's, I'm going to move by Friday night. And come Friday afternoon, you can either beat yourself up about it, or you can just reevaluate and say, okay, I wasn't that attached to that particular goal, and let's say we'll get out of here by Sunday. But we can abuse ourselves, or we can sort of readjust as we go. That's kind of what I'm thinking about that. John, I really liked your make hay while the sun's shining reference. I use that all the time. I don't know where I heard it, but it's really relevant to me, being a rancher and having animals, right? But also really having a seasonal business that, for me, for many years, you know, I only had so many days where I could generate income. And so that was very much a part of our daily business routine, was, you know, booking trips, taking reservations. And for us as a seasonal business, what we really ran our business on was early season deposits in order to book the rest of the season, right? And if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have had the capital to jumpstart the rest of our season. And then in terms of what I want to do in 90 days, what we want to do in 90 days, we need more products listed on our e-commerce. And so that's really where I'm at. I'm setting a goal of 4 to 6 products in the next 90 days to be listed on our site. And that's where I'm at. Cheers, you guys. Nice to see everybody.
Good to see you, man. And question for you, and I guess for anyone considering the Christmas rush, seasonal products like Christmas time stuff, is that a good direction to go in this time of year?
A lot of the things that we've been taught in our courses are to stay away from seasonal products as newer e-commerce sellers. But I think we would all agree that there's probably some healthy profits to be made in seasonal products. And so maybe later for us in our e-commerce thing. And then the other concept is, if every product you choose is a gift, then you're covered. Anybody else chime in on that?
Interesting insight. So we got plans here for the next 90 days in terms of sourcing and such. How about you, Jamie? What thinks you? Where's my friend Jamie?
Well, I have a couple comments on the one was on the expectation, and it's funny to hear you talk about the pain and angst of moving. It sounds that I'm assuming you did it yourself. Most likely, you didn't have a professional moving service help you.
Well, I had a crew, but these guys were almost useful. Yeah.
So my point about that is that I think we all, you know, the older we get, it's kind of like life. We bring more and more with us each year. The same with moving. And I think those of us who continue to move, we all say after the last time we moved, we'll never do that again. And then comes time to move again, we're like, no, that doesn't look too bad. We'll take care of it. We can get it done. And I'm sure everybody agrees that you keep walking through the garage or through that one room, and you swear some gremlin is walking in from another room and moving stuff from somebody's house back into my house. I can't get past all this stuff. And I that expectation of that each year will get easier. I mean, it's a great expectation, but I think sometimes we underestimate it. That's kind of where I'm going with moving. The other thing that you mentioned was chasing two rabbits. You know, you won't catch either. I think I sent an email to you recently in the last couple of weeks about, I've kind of been in that rut where I've got 4 or 5 things that are swirling around in my sandbox, and I'm doing okay with all of them, but I'm not doing great with one of them. And for me, it's I have to, and I had a conversation with Mark about this too last week. For me, it's just, I feel like, I can do all those effectively, but what I'm becoming to understand, and through this group and through our talks, is that I'm not. And it's just, I just have to come to that realization. I believe that I'm a great multitasker, but I'm coming to the really, really quick, stark realization that I'm not. And so I have to step back, take a breath, focus. I don't have to drop them all, but I need to step back and focus on what is important. And that 90-day plan, I think, just speaks volumes to me about, I can set each one of those on a 90-day plan. They can rotate in and out, but I need to be able to focus on any given one that's most important to me or relevant at the time, whether that's Amazon, whether that's here, whether that's my full-time job, which pays the bills right now for the most part, another side business that I have going in construction. I'll know what path to go down. The signals will come to me. I just need to step back, take a breath, and realize what they are.
Yeah, time to assess, right?
Yeah.
And like with the moving, which I think is a great metaphor. Thank you, Jamie. It's like this we're taking, this is going to Goodwill, this is going in the dumpster, right? Lightening the load. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you. All right, where's Wayne? By the way, Wayne hosted our first ever Metaphors for Success yesterday, which I haven't seen yet, Wayne. I'm going to post the recording. So those of you who are not able to make it live, look on the members site today. You'll find the recording. Wayne, what's up?
Morning, John. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I really appreciated what you were talking about. It's interesting. Over the weekend here, I was reflecting about sitting down and really focusing back on my goals again here. You were talking about expectations of effort, and particularly when there's learning involved. And right now, discovering that what I think takes half an hour actually takes 2 or 3 or 4. I've done a lot of things in my life, and one of the things I did is actually did an apprenticeship in carpentry, and then got my builder's license in Australia and built houses for 8-9 years, I think it was. And one of the big things as somebody who's building a house is actually knowing what your expectation of effort is. So how much material do you need, and how much time is this going to take you? And then the other piece from that is, where are you going to start? So sometimes you get a piece of paper with a lot of lines drawn on it, and you learn to make a 3-dimensional vision in your head, and how long that little thing that's drawn there is going to take you, and so on. And experience leads a lot to that. And then you turn up at the site and it's covered in vegetation and it's steep and all these sorts of things, and it's like, okay, where do I start here? If it's on a flat piece of land, it's different than when it's on the side of a hill. And so that knowledge and that experience that leads to that learning. And then when you're leaving a margin, just in case you miss something, whether it's 10% for material, or whether there's something in the contract that allows for unexpected things to come up, and so on, to give you extra time to finish the project. And so yeah, it's kind of interesting, and really echo sort of what Jamie said there, because sometimes too you can stretch yourself a bit thin, and so you take on another job and another job. And anybody who's built a new house will probably have stories about how long it took the contractor to come back, and they never finished this little thing. And what is done, it sometimes becomes a question, because there's all those little tiny things, or there's a little piece that needs to be fixed up. So I've really been learning lately, number one, about being a little bit more realistic with my expectations of how long my new business is going to take me. and not to be chasing rabbits, like you said. It's easy. It's like, there's this, and then there's my Amazon business, and then I've got some photography work I'm doing, and I've got a couple film projects coming up over the next couple of weeks where I'm going to shoot some stuff on camera. It's all of a sudden there's all these things, and it's like, oh yeah, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that. But really, I got to come back to the focus and realize, okay, what am I expecting to get done here? What is my real goal, and what things do I need to put aside in order to achieve that goal? So good chat today. It was really good for me. Thank you.
Thank you. It was good for me too. Good to see you, Wade. Oh, is that Nida? We got Nida, and then Therese, and then Nancy and Habiba. Nida, how you been?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing good, working hard. I'm actually working on someone's taxes, but what I wanted to say is that I've set a goal. I finally have a product. I already got the sample. I've given the approval, so I'm on my way, and I'm really looking forward to achieving what that goal of having it already posted in Amazon and getting it sold. So I'm excited. But I wanted to also say, in regards to the seasonal products, I buy a lot of seasonal products, but mostly, and it's because my grandson is into the costume things of all these different superheroes. So I've been spending literally like every month I'm buying him a new costume. So I'm glad that they still have them available on Amazon, because he's already learned how to use the app. So he just comes, okay, grandma, and now press the button so I can order what he wants. Now he wants a vampire costume. So I'm like, okay. So that's his next costume coming up. He's got like 10 of them, changes in and out of them every day, and depending on what his mood is. So I'm glad that that there is seasonal products that are being sold, because you never know when you need a particular product or something that you want to give someone. So I'm thinking that I'm going to join that area as well, because of the fact that I'm doing this for my grandson constantly.
So are you getting into the Halloween costume business?
I wish, but only to sell his products. But I don't know if he'll let me though, because he's very attached to all of them. But yeah, it's kind of funny how it's only usually sold during the season coming up of Halloween, maybe a month and a half before, maybe 2. But I've been buying it all year. So I'm glad that there's some people still actually have them on Amazon, because my grandson is very heavy on them. So.
Well, I got talking about seasonal products now, and I'm not an expert with this stuff, but I know that here in Arizona, we've got these stores that spring up. Well, the stores were already there, but they make it Halloween Land, or Spooktown or something, where it's all Halloween, everything Halloween. And then at Halloween, at the end of October, they shut that down. It's like Christmas Land, everything Christmas. And so I don't know if they just truck in and truck out the inventory for each season. Okay.
Right.
I do know that year round, like I was doing some fundraisers where there were themes. People were dressing up like knights. We're going to be the knights, for the fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got a knight outfit. I don't know, it could have been February or something. It had nothing to do with Halloween, but it's the same product. It's a night outfit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's instructive or what you could do with that, but I was just thinking out loud here, boy, Halloween's coming up, and it's going to be, big.
Yeah, he's going to have plenty to choose from, because he's got so many of them. Right. I mean, like literally every month I'm buying him a costume. So I'm like, thank God they sell them, because that's what he's into. So
there you go. Thank you, Nida. So good to see you. I can't believe you're a grandma either. That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, where's Therese, and then Nancy, and then Habiba?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here today. Wonderful topic, of course. Nice to see you, John. I'm glad you made it through your move.
Thank you.
Obviously, still lots more to do, and same here. It's a couple of things I just want to touch on that have really been in my face the last few days. The practice of non-attachment, right? You're saying, raising your vibration, letting go, and of course, moving is a perfect opportunity to experience that. And I think I had mentioned before that a lot of the things that we're down in the basement at my friend's house were things that have followed me for like 16 years after my divorce, right? And 90% of that stuff just stayed in boxes and I never opened it. So it was Pandora's box. The last 2 weeks have really been getting real and present with that stuff and releasing it all. And I mean, even furniture, like, I mean, how much do you need? I did have a 3-bedroom condo before I ended up downsizing into my friend's place. So I had way too much stuff. And you know, nobody wants your stuff. No, it's not worth anything to anyone but you. But so anyway, long story short, I put stuff out on the corner, gave it away, brought stuff to Goodwill, gave things to friends. And it felt so good. And each day that I did, I felt lighter and lighter and clearer, happier and happier. Like all of a sudden, this huge weight was off my shoulders. And it's really amazing that it took me that long to do it. But one quick little thing about the moving. I had a couch that I moved in on Friday. It's too big for the space. So we moved a second one in, which was smaller, which was more appropriate. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? And so my friend was going to take it back out to their neighborhood and put it on their corner. Cause it's I live in a really small little space here in the apartment building. You know, I can't do that. So we're taking it out the door into the hall in the apartment building. And a young girl was moving in. So she was coming in the other elevator into the hall. And she said, oh, that's a really nice couch. And I said, oh, it is a really nice couch. You know, I was telling her how it functions and it's also a sleeper. And she's like, I said, it's for sale. Would you like it? And she said, I would love it. How much? And I said, 75. I mean, I was going to give it away for free. So I was like, $75. And she said, done, I'll Venmo you. And so we moved it into her place and I made a new friend and it was perfect, right? It was like releasing energy to the universe and increasing the flow and making room for more, right? So that was really poignant for me. Also, last night, not just last night, but there's been a couple of incidents recently in a new relationship that I'm in. And this thing about expectations, when we have expectations, and then there's assumptions, right? And it leads to disappointment, miscommunication, et cetera, and frustration. And, it's just a really good reminder to stay present and, focus on what I'm doing right now, reprioritize. I've had 2 weeks of a little bit like disheveled goings on. I haven't been on all the calls. I've missed the evening events. And I think I sort of lost a little sight of where I'm going and then a new relationship and again, expectations. And anyway, this was spot on for me. A lot of light bulbs just went on and reprioritizing my goals. And the 90 days, I mean, yeah, and you and I still need to talk because that's part of also one of my goals. So anyway, thank you. Sorry it took so long, but
no, it's
great topic.
beautiful. You're reminding me of so many other things as well as you're talking, and I'm thinking you've got a move, a relationship, expectations. I mean, there's so much packed up in what you just said. Wow, yeah, we should talk.
And interesting, releasing. It's all really poignant. This is someone I've known for years, but all of a sudden it just presented itself as more. And I think, yeah, I've been letting go of other stuff and making room for, yeah.
No. There you go. So thank you, Therese. And let's see if we can catch up earlier this week on some other stuff.
Perfect.
So very good. And let's go. We got Nancy and Habiba. What's going on? Nancy, who is going to be hosting and already has been, our weekly yoga class.
Yeah, John, show up if you can on Thursday. We'll work with some neck releases.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see. So hi, everyone. It's so lovely to see everyone. This is a great topic. I have a tendency to spread myself too thin because I have what one could say, not poor time management skills, but I always, I never estimate correctly about how long something's going to take. And at one point in Seattle, I had I was working for 4 different studios, and I was working as a learning or educational specialist. And I was just like running around in circles. And the person I was living with, she said, "My God, you spend so much time going from this job to that job. Like, what would happen if you just had one job and you could put all of your energy into it?" That's ultimately what I'm working on. But I wanted to answer the question for myself and for you guys. What can I do in the next 90 days to really put something in the bank? So I realized, well, why should I can actually capitalize on what I already know how to do really well. If I were to get 5 more new private students in the next 90 days, that will be very nice. Drop a little bit of money there, and then just keep building that over time and do the e-commerce on the side. Like those, that too is a beautiful pairing for me. So that's my focus. And my goal is by December 1st to have to get 5 new people doing privates weekly, like regular steady clients. And then also to have launched my second product, which is I'm close to getting the first one out there. But that's a lot. So I'm just going to put it out there. That's what I'm working on. So thanks for making me get really clear.
Thank you. It's good to have timelines, right? Because the old was a Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time allowed for it. So yeah, if we could just see the fruit, there it is. You got to go get it now. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you for your contribution here in the community as well. Let's go to one of my favorite people from Pennsylvania. Hey, Habiba.
For now. Hi, John. So, I'm really sitting with this whole thing. One of the biggest lessons for me of late has been this whole thing around multitasking and how often I sort of get myself into a state of overwhelm because I try to manage too many things at once. And as a single mom with, a house to manage and all those kinds of things, I'm aware that there's always something to be done. And so as you're talking about this bird in the hand and, I love every time you say the word done, I'm like, yes, there's that reminder, favorite 4-letter word. So what occurred to me is when you were talking about separating things into whether it's getting moved or whether it's going to Goodwill, whether it's going into the dumpster, right? And so in that same way, it's like, yes, I have household things that need to be done, and I have business things that need to be done, and I have family things that need to be done. And as I'm able to use this idea of like, I can do the 90-day goal with each of those things. And then from there, there's a couple of people who've talked about, Nancy was just talking about the time management thing. It's like, okay, if I've got these goals and I separate it into these buckets, if you will, the thing for me always comes down to being in the present moment with what I'm doing, so that I'm not carrying the household stuff while I'm working on my business, so that I'm in the moment, so focused on what I'm doing, because I know myself well enough to know that I do best when I really zero in on something. And I think I mentioned on a call last week, I gave myself last week to get some household stuff done because it was plaguing me and it was constantly running in the back of my mind and sucking energy while I was trying to do other things. And by doing that, I got so much done, and I got up today zeroed in and clear and ready to do what I need to do with my business, because I got the other weight out of the bag. It's like I had it all in there together. So anyway, the topic today is certainly on there. And the name it and claim it is a big part of that. Like my goal, my birthday is early November. And so rather than aiming end of November, it's like, I've got a 5,000 a month goal, and my intention is to hit it by the 1st of November. So that's where I'm, and then the 90-day, I'll have to play with what that number is for me. But the first one is, will help me to get even further by the end of November. So anyway, I thank you very much for your leadership always.
Beautiful. So in your case, it would be like a 60-day goal then. So Halloween is the deadline. Okay, great. So Halloween, it's your rules, not my rules, right? 90 days, 60 days, whatever, it's your rules. So thank you, Habiba. So good to hear from you. I don't see any other hands up. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap with that, unless there's any burning desire, something you just got to say, or you're going to spontaneously combust. Are we good? All right. So Star, hey Star.
Just burning desire to share with you all that some of us have met up today. I put some pictures on the Facebook group, but just wanted to say
Oh,
it was
that
so
today?
lovely. Yes, it was today, and we met up. And I met Jane, and I met Neil, and I met Coral, and I met Cyril, and I met Ivy, and Jonathan. So it was just really special, and we missed you all, and we're thinking of you all. And we all, I think Ivy is there in her car, logged in, but yeah, we all rushed back to sort of jump in, and I just can't wait.
I'm in my car.
There you are, yeah. But yeah, so that was my burning desire. Just we were thinking of you all, and yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you guys get to have a little social time. That is so special. And we'll have to do something really, guys, Arizona and New Mexico and Utah. I mean, if you've never been to the American Southwest,
yeah,
we gotta get to Taos.
Yeah.
That's what I think we gotta do. We gotta go take a llama tour.
After y'all swing by Houston for some barbecue.
Yeah, we gotta get some barbecue. We got barbecue in Arizona too. We got Mexican food though, man. We got the Mexican food right here. But look, this is just we're just getting going for today. We've got, of course, our hospitality suite is always open. We're going to have our e-commerce work group this evening with Stuart. He may be covering Shopify or Facebook advertising. So there's a couple different topics on the plate there. If you go into our Facebook group, which is managed so beautifully by someone, not me, I know Evelyn's very active in there. Thank you for all of you who contribute into that group. There is a post somewhere in there about what topics you'd like covered in terms of your e-commerce business, because I know we got a lot of people doing e-commerce of various sorts. So again, that's at 7:30 Eastern US time. And then we're going to wrap up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern with the grand finale of As a Man Thinketh on our book study. So again, you can download a free copy of As a Man Thinketh right on our members site. And we're going to be going chapter 3 through to the end. Short book, so easy to read. Actually, the English is a little bit old in it, so not necessarily easy to read. Grab a dictionary, but short, doesn't take a long time. I will see you guys again real soon. Thanks again for being here. You just made my day. We'll see you again.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
See you tomorrow.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.